Another typical morning. This was becoming routine already. Nora, haven't seen them, sorry. The keys again? No idea. I just know I wasn't involved in whatever it was. I took a long sip of coffee as Spencer headed to the front room to see if he could find where the brownie had left his things again. Honestly, this is getting old. I wonder if I can figure out how to make it leave him alone. You know, I've been starting to wonder if the house is haunted. I choked on my coffee as soon as she said the word haunted, and spent the next few minutes trying to hack up a lung. I wiped my mouth, giving her a worried look. Why would you say that? Not that it wasn't haunted. Did it really count as a haunting when it was a fae, though? Well, all of Spencer's things going missing. It's happened to me a few times, too. And sometimes at night, I think I hear little footsteps walking around the hall. That stupid brownie. Mom, seriously, it's probably just... I stopped myself from saying mice. She'd flip out at the thought of rodents. Your imagination? It's not my imagination that Spencer's things are going missing, is it? No, but maybe he's just misplacing them. I doubt he misplaced his toothbrush in the toilet. Could have fallen in. The toilet's not even next to the sink. I got nothing. But I am grateful you don't think it's me. She's the only one. He scowled at me as he entered the room again, keys in hand. I'm pretty sure Dad doesn't think it's me either. Then what is it? I'm not gonna say it's a ghost. I mean, it's not him. I gotta lie either way. I mean, I just got off from telling Mom, it's not a haunting, you're just crazy, you're just your imagination. I can't say it's Spencer. I have no idea. I'm not the key whisperer. So, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to figure it out on your own. Or I can keep assuming it's you until there's evidence to the contrary. Well, I can't stop you from doing whatever you want, so... I shrugged. Probably better that he blamed it on me trying to bully him than let either of them continue down the path of thinking it might be something supernatural. Yeah, that's why I'm like, eh. I grimaced and rinsed out my mug. Mom was just standing off to the side, watching us both, probably expecting to have to jump in and referee a fight. I'm heading to school, Mom. I'll see you when I get home. She looked relieved that I wasn't going to take the bait and fight. See you this afternoon, honey. I left the two of them there, and as I headed outside, made a mental note to move solving the brownie issue to the top of the to-do list. Maybe Allie can help me with that when she comes to ward the house. The sooner Spencer stopped having a reason to be suspicious of me, the better I'd feel. The ride to school was quieter than usual. Allie, who usually chatted my ear off, was just staring ahead silently. I gave her a sidelong look, studying her profile for a long moment before I spoke. You're looking more tired than usual. She laughed a little sheepishly as she looked over.
Yeah, was up late. There's been so much work after school lately that I kinda had to use weekends to catch up on schoolwork.
They've been keeping her that busy. Don't you think you're overdoing it a bit with this whole internship?
It's not that big a deal. It's just busier than usual this year. In any case, it'll be over after this weekend.
But still... I frowned as I watched the passing trees out the window. I'd been giving a lot of thought to what Corbin had told me over the weekend, and in the end I had decided to talk to him about sleepwalking first. It wasn't that I trusted him over others, but just that, from what I understood, he didn't really work for the agency, so I felt like maybe he wasn't quite as swamped. I didn't have to worry about giving him an extra burden. But Corbin hadn't been at school on Monday, and it wasn't exactly a conversation you could have over text. But last night had been another near miss where I'd managed to wake up just before stepping outside. Clearly, my own attempts at blocking the door or somehow keeping myself inside weren't working. But seeing how tired Allie looked definitely made it clear I couldn't worry her with it right now. Not yet. She already had so much on her plate.
Hey, no need to look so serious about it. I'm fine. Trust me, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Hey, do you happen to know why Corbin missed school yesterday?
Not really. Might have been work.
Really? That stuff with the Ori? I didn't realize it was serious enough to make him miss school.
It doesn't have to be serious to make him miss school. It's just that his work as a pillar takes precedence.
Pillar? This is one of those weird paranormal community things I've yet to learn about, isn't it?
I really need to sit you down and go over the basics with you sometime.
Yeah. I've just been really focused on this Fae thing.
Which is understandable. A pillar is just someone that exists, or at least their abilities exist, to accomplish a specific task or fulfill a specific purpose. It can be just about anything, from guarding a gate to hunting down wayward Ori and returning them to their owners. In a way, they just help keep the world functioning smoothly. The government recognizes their unique place in the grand scheme of things, so they're granted a special position, pillar, and they're immune to a lot of the rules the rest of us have to follow.
Dang. Didn't know he was so important. Maybe there's some jealousy in his family for that. Corbin is something called a pillar. They're people who have some specific job or purpose in the supernatural community, presumably assigned by a higher power of some kind. Pillars have a special sort of immunity that exempts them from a lot of the rules other cryptics have to follow. Oh, hey, look at that. That page is all done, so is that. Well, it's starting to... Well, I say it's starting to fill out, but there's still a lot to see. I had no idea. Corbin didn't seem to even like his abilities much, so I guess that was why he kept doing that job even if he hated it. I've been wondering this for a while now, but how did he even come into that kind of responsibility?
I really don't know the details of how his family came into their roles. I just know he inherited his from his father. The murder does a lot of work involving various Ori and keeping them from running amok, so it's definitely a family thing.
Huh. So that meant his brothers also did something similar to what he did. I wondered what kind of Ori, though. How many different types even are there?
You sure are worrying a lot about Corbin lately.
I'm not worrying about him. No more than I worry about anyone else. He's just... loud, so you can't help but notice him.
Sure.
I ultimately gave up arguing with her on that one. If she was convinced there was something there, I'd never convince her otherwise. Though I did get the feeling, at one point, the one I was trying to convince was myself. Hey, she's starting to believe. We parted ways at the school, and I even managed to get a little research done before class started. No luck on the sleepwalking front, but I've potentially found a solution for the brownie issue. Or, at the very least, I had something to start with. Methods for appeasing them seemed a bit spotty at best, but it was better than doing something to drive it out. Okay. I mean, it lived in the house before we did, so creepy as it was, I didn't want to force it out unless I had to. But I'd have to wait to get home before giving anything a try. I wonder, does this mean the brownie isn't messing with Nora at all? Because I think brownies are a type of fae, right? I just want to double check that. It's Spriggans. Spriggans are a type of fairy. Oh, brownie. That's a crimble. Tutelary spirits. Yeah, so they are a type of fae. Okay. Right. Corbin didn't show up in the club room, and I was starting to worry he was going to miss again. I hope he's okay. Surely his job had to be dangerous too sometimes. I bit my lip and pulled out my phone as I headed downstairs. Hey, you coming to school today? Instantaneous reply.
OMG, you're texting me!
Indeed.
Yes, I'll be at school.
Good. There's something I kind of want to talk to you about.
Oh?
Maybe at lunch?
Another date?
Sure. A date.
Yay!
He's so cute. He was the same as always. I still didn't know why he'd missed the day before, but if Allie's theory was correct, maybe I should reconsider talking to him. It seemed like he had a lot on his plate as well. I dragged my hands through my hair. Everyone had a lot to deal with. That was obvious. You have something to deal with, but I needed to talk to someone. And Corbin did volunteer to hear me out. I decided to just go through with it. At the very least, I could get his thoughts on telling Allie about it, if he even thought it was something abnormal. I went the rest of the way down the stairs and headed to literature. I was a bit distracted for most of the morning, thinking of what I'd do when I got home and what sort of bribe I'd set up for the brownie. Because if I could get it to chill out a little, that alone would relieve a massive distraction. At the very least, Spencer would stop picking fights every morning. I was still thinking on that when I slid into my seat and trig. Maybe just go with a bowl of milk? Or maybe I'll try some cookies too. Mom has those tea biscuits.
No flirting before class today.
It took me a minute to realize that statement was aimed at me. I turned to glare at the speaker. I never flirt before class.
I've seen you and Corbin. Don't deny it.
I will deny it. I have never flirted with Corvin.
Uh-huh.
Oh, the bruise, my boy.
What are you two talking about?
Nothing! I said it before James could tell Corbin we'd been talking about our flirting, or lack thereof.
You have to be talking about something.
It's not... What happened to your face? I said that way louder than I intended and got the attention of several other students who all chimed in with concern. Corbin held up his hands helplessly.
I just fell down the stairs. It's fine.
Fell down the stairs. He didn't look like he'd taken a fall down the stairs. He looked like someone beat the crap out of him.
Really? I just tripped.
I wasn't quite sure I believed that. Everyone to your seats! Everyone reluctantly left Corbin alone and retreated to their desks. I pulled my book bag onto mine to fish up my textbook. Corbin's hand shot up as soon as the bell rang. Ferretti sighed in defeat. Just go. He looked almost distressingly defeated. The class tittered quietly, and I had to fight to keep the smile off my face. Oh, Corbin. I was still nursing a slight smile when, to my surprise, Corbin appeared next to my desk, dragged me to my feet, and started pulling me to the door. Startled, I instinctively grabbed my book bag as I stumbled after him. Corbin, what?
Come on.
Oh? The rest of the class perked up, and I heard quite a few whispers as I struggled to pull my arm out of his grasp. Corbin Beltran, I gave you permission to leave, not to kidnap another student.
Sorry, she promised to help with this.
I didn't... Corbin...
We'll be back, don't worry.
You are nothing but trouble. I didn't have time to fight before he dragged me out the door, sticking his head back in briefly to shoot the teacher a smile.
Bye!
Corbin pulled me away from the class at a run, and I struggled to keep up with his longer strides. Not to mention the fact that even 2-inch heels were hard to run in. Corbin, what are you doing? He dragged me down toward the stairwell, but stopped suddenly while we were still a ways down the hall. What's going on?
Shh!
Don't shush me! You don't get to kidnap me, then He covered my mouth with his hand and placed a finger to his lips.
You wanted to see what it is I do, so here you go.
What?
Come on.
He grabbed my hand again and led me all the way to the foot of the stairs wearing a frown. He suddenly released me and started away. Where are you going?
Wait here.
And with that, he sped off, leaving me alone by the stairs. I flopped onto the lowest step, wondering what the point of me coming along with him even was. I didn't particularly want to stay in Trig, but it's not like missing class was really going to benefit me in the long run. I rested my chin in my hands and stared the direction Corbin had gone. Where did he run off to anyway? I straightened instantly when I heard a low, muffled voice nearby. What the... Cocking my head to the side, I closed my eyes and listened carefully. That's... It was coming from the storage space under the stairs. It had to be. Shoot! Who is that? Corbin? I hissed his name warily, standing and backing away from the stairs. Corbin! He was nowhere in sight, of course. I eyed the corridor to the storage area, trying to decide what to do. Oh no, not again. If that was the Ori Corbin was looking for, he wouldn't have gone off the other way. Based on previous situations, I assumed he could sense where they were. Of course, that just meant it was one of the other things lurking around the school. The things I could see wiggling in the corners of my vision. Or some lonesome ghost with nothing better to do than lurk under the stairs and whisper at people. I glanced back the direction Corbin had gone. Running my teeth over my lower lip, I finally took a step toward the understairs closet. I just go peek. I am so going to regret this. This is our modus operandi for this route. With both hands clenched tightly around the strap to my book bag, I started down the narrow space that led to the storage area. The whispery voice grew louder with each quiet step I took. Who is that? What is it with this place? Anxiety crept up my spine as I peeked around the corner. To my surprise, it was a person, not a ghost or weird, blurry cat. Kara. A person, and a familiar one at that. That... Kara? I couldn't see her well, but she was definitely in there and acting really weird. Muttering to herself, rubbing her arms. Possessed, maybe? Then again, given how she'd been acting since I got back, there had been several times I'd half expected to see her head start spinning around. But no, this was different. Something was wrong. I wasn't sure if I should say something or just back away and go find Corbin. But in the end, it was too difficult to just walk away from someone, especially someone that used to be a friend. Kara? She didn't answer, but behind her was a worrying, scuffling sound. I saw movement, but not enough to know what was back there. I could guess, though. I stepped into the room, grabbed Kara's arm, and started pulling her out. She looked at me with foggy, distant eyes, as if she didn't even recognize me. What? Come on! I yanked her out of the storage room, dragging her down the corridor. It was coming after us, its footfalls like shadowy echoes on the tile floor. As soon as there was enough space, I shoved Kara away and spun around, swinging my book bag with all my strength. It made contact with the... whatever it was. I was grateful that the thing was solid enough for me to hit it, but I didn't stop to check where it went or what it was doing. In the time it took me to whack the unknown assailant with my book bag, Kara had collapsed. When I turned around, she was sprawled on the floor, half curled onto her side, eyes closed. Shoot! Kara! Kara! I tried to grab her arm and pull, but we weren't going to get far like that. Soft footfalls directly in front of me made me freeze in place. It was right there. I stared at the floor, too scared to look up. My chest felt tight. I was afraid to move, afraid to do anything. Come on. Move. You have to move! At the very least, I had to keep Kara safe until Corbin came back. I slowly raised my head. But out of nowhere came heavy footfalls and a flutter of blue fabric obscured my view. Corbin!
Get her out of here!
I scrambled to my feet, not needing to be told twice. Unfortunately, dragging Kara's limp body away from there wasn't easy. She was completely out of it. Ugh. We didn't get far before things went south. The Ori launched itself at Corbin, hitting him in the center of the chest. Corbin was knocked back by the force of it. He smacked into the wall and slid down, grimacing as his grimoire fell from his hands and slid across the floor. And suddenly there was nothing left between me and that strangely blurry creature. A white silhouette of billowing curls of smoke.
Nora, get out!
I glanced at Kara and mustered all the courage I had to keep myself between her and that thing.
Nora, go!
Oh. Well, you're an interesting looking thing, aren't you? The Ori jumped at me with a howl that vibrated inside my head. I raised my arms, though I don't know what I expected that to do. It didn't knock me aside the way it did Corbin. It hit me square in the chest, hard. The force of it pushed me to the floor. My entire body felt hot, like my blood was boiling. A heavy weight was on my chest. Can't breathe. Couldn't open my eyes, it hurt. In that moment, I really thought I was going to die. There was a flash of white that I think was just inside my head, and a woman's voice. One I didn't know yet sounded weirdly familiar.
Get out!
And the weight was gone. It felt like something bounced out of me, leaving me gasping for air. Oh no, not again! I struggled up to my elbows, figuring Corbin had done something. He was just getting to his feet, still gripping his side. The white thing was gone. Ugh. I let out a shaky breath, feeling surprisingly okay for whatever that had been. I slowly got to my feet, intending to check on Kara. Corbin grabbed me by the shoulders. His face was ghost white, except for the strange black mark creeping from under the edge of his scarf.
What was that? What were you thinking? I told you to run!
I had never seen him so angry. I had never seen him angry at all. How was I supposed to just leave you and Kara? I shoved his hands off my shoulders. And you're the one who brought me along. A strange look passed over his face. One of realization and guilt. He released me immediately and ran a hand through his hair tiredly.
Yeah. I did. Sorry.
I looked around the hall nervously, surprised that no one else was around. How did no one hear any of that?
I set up a barrier. Something to keep others from noticing what was happening.
Convenient.
Are you okay?
Are you? You were the one slammed against the wall like that. And what's that mark on your face? Corbin turned away, shaking his hair down so it covered the mark.
Nothing. It's nothing.
No, it's not. I've seen that before. The same thing happened when you helped Dana.
It's nothing you should worry about. Just an effect of using magic.
What kind of effect was that? Hope it's not that soul necrosis thing. I wasn't sure I believed it, but I didn't know enough about it to argue. Instead, I left his side and went to Kara, kneeling to check on her. She was still out of it. Corbin knelt beside me.
She'll be okay. She's just unconscious.
That's good, but I didn't know how to ask. What was she doing in the storage room? Was that thing an Ori? What was that entire situation about? Why did he want me to see it?
She's a friend of yours, right?
I let out a dry laugh. Not exactly. She used to be. Not so much anymore.
Still, the two of you must have a pretty long history.
Is this why you wanted me here? Because you thought she and I were friends? Because she has some secret or something that's roaming around? Corbin gave me a long, silent look.
I need to take her to the infirmary.
I grabbed his arm angrily. You can't involve me in this, then refuse to give me answers. Why did you bring me here? Corbin looked around helplessly.
You're her friend.
I'm not her friend. She hates me. I can't believe you weren't aware of that, given how often she hangs around you.
Hate isn't the same as anger.
What was that white thing?
A dream. One she lost.
A lost dream? What kind of dream? Like a dream? Or do you mean something more like a goal or a desire?
I don't know, really. I thought maybe you would, since it's...
He stopped himself, looking away.
Since it's something that belonged to your friend.
I narrowed my eyes, wondering if that's really what he'd been planning to say. I thought you could see their true forms, like what they really are.
Usually I can. This one is clouded by miasma. I can't see its form very well. If I could, I might get a better feel for how to catch it.
I looked down at Kara. Without the scowl I'd grown accustomed to, she looked so much more like the girl I'd been friends with. What kind of dream could she have lost? How's her piano playing? Corbin looked surprised.
I didn't know she played piano.
How was that possible? It used to be her life. Everyone knew she played. She can't have stopped playing after that concert. That made no sense at all. Even if it had been a flop, they could easily have just arranged another one.
What is it?
Nothing. Just... She and her mom had this big dream for her to become a concert pianist. Though, I guess it was her mom more than her. I shook my head. Look, you should ask Allie. I didn't keep in touch with Kara after I moved, so I don't know what happened after that. She doesn't even talk to me anymore. So if you brought me along so I could help you, you're expecting too much. I can't even figure out my own life right now, much less hers. I gave him a tired smile. Sorry I couldn't be of any help. I feel like I just got in the way.
No, I should be the one apologizing to you.
Thanks for helping me when that thing jumped on me or whatever.
I didn't do anything.
What?
I had the breath knocked out of me. By the time I got up, the Ori was running down the hall and you were getting up.
If that wasn't Corvin, then... I didn't know what it was. And that was a bit unnerving.
Nora.
Yeah.
Can we keep this incident between us?
Why?
I try to not get the others involved in my work. I'm sorry.
And then he left me there, carrying Kara down to the infirmary alone. I sat shakily on the first step, staring after him. That was the sort of thing he dealt with all the time? Really? Frankly, I was wishing he hadn't shown me at all. Besides, if he didn't like to get the others involved, why involve me? Because he thought I was Kara's friend? Because he thought I could help him better understand the situation behind the Ori? Was that the whole reason he'd bothered to get to know me? Was that why he'd been spending time with me? I didn't even know anymore. And I didn't get to ask because neither he nor Kara showed up to school for the rest of the week. Great. That meant I didn't get to talk to him, and I couldn't tell him about the sleepwalking like I'd planned either. Nothing was working out the way I'd hoped.